So the American story is 250 years old. Well, I like to follow story arcs, right? So this is what we see. We see S as in struggle and seek. And the American story struggles to find its place. What are we supposed to do? Can we even do a democracy? Is this thing going to work? And then we teach and train to the story. Yes, it can work. This is how it's going to work. This is how we're going to set up. And we're going to tell the people how it's going to work. And we'll organize to that by not just building a government, but also teaching each generation the importance of the story, the heart of the story, which I would say is liberty. Liberty is a little different than freedom. Liberty means under God's rule and direction. So under this, we are free to have freedom of speech, freedom of voting, freedom of labor rights, freedom of all kinds of different things that have become part of the story and continue to evolve to the story. And this teaching of it is where the story really starts to take off. And then like anything else, the villains show up and they react to the story. Other nations say, well, I don't like that. And they try to push back, or they maybe do some sorts of things that are unsavory. This is what competitors do, right? Probably one of the things that is common is within an organization, there's always going to be, especially in a big organization, somebody who's negative. And then those negative people congregate and they start looking and going, well, this isn't that good. I don't like that. We get a 4-hour break. I'm not 4.5-hour break. I get 4 channels. I want 60 channels. And even that I don't like. See, this is the nature of people. If you want to, there's always something to find fault with, just the way it is. Now, in our particular story, we have an interesting antidote called first-generation Americans, because they walk into the story and say, what is this? And then the whiners and complainers show up and say, what about this and this? And I said, buddy, you have no idea. This last place I lived in, this place is awesome. And that has been what's kept the story vibrant, because new people see it with fresh eyes and remind us what a wonderful story we have. And then any story ends and you yield the field to the next story. I suppose the American story will end, but it doesn't have to end now, or in my lifetime, or in your lifetime. Look around in the course of human history. There will never be another story quite like this. It is the most remarkable story in the history of human governments. And when you love a story, you're in the story. Love casts out fear. We see the anxiety and the nervousness and the finger pointing as in every organization. And we say, yes, but liberty is worth loving and fighting for. And that is the heart of the story that you and I have inherited. Happy birthday, America. I love your story. I'm Jeff Gould, America's Storyteller. Now, I have 13 unknown American stories. You like that? 13? 13 unknown American stories. It's a free book download, or is it this way? So this, anyway. And also, I do a presentation called America's Story. Let me know. I'd love to come to your town and tell you about it. Until we meet, I'm Jeff Gould. God bless.